Realities of State Interference in Child Development in Accordance with the Thoughts of Plato Razou is my title, and I am the author Timothy Lowe, and let us begin on the second slide. Okay, this is my second slide, Introduction, Reasons for Philosophy. My first point is to fill a void. I believe that's what everyone wishes for. It's kind of a subconscious thing. It's something that we don't really see or understand, but we know that there's a feeling, the feeling that arises within us that makes us want to do the things that we want to think, or makes us want to achieve or do anything. To find our function is my second point. I think that's something that without that, I don't think we could really be an adaptable society. As my third point is encouragement for people to live out what they perceive. I think that's paramount. It's something that everyone should be able to do. It's a right. This point is going to be mentioned many times. I believe it's something that we all deserve, and it's something that we do, and that we should believe, and to better postulate us. My fourth point is to become better connected. That's something that we definitely could use as humanity. I don't see us being a humanity of any kind without being connected, and philosophy tends to bring people together in the fact that it's not an absolute, and it is what we think. And fifth, to better prepare and adapt with what is different or unknown. I think this is of the most importance. It's something that we need to do, and it's something that we do. My sixth point is to further construction in life, to be constructive. Philosophy is something that it creates, and that should be the backdrop or the background for anything that we do or say. Okay, my third slide is my assumption of Plato's viewpoint on state interference in child development. My first point, an overview of his work can be understood as an advocate for education. Education was something he really pushed in his writings and literary masterpieces. It's something that inspired him, and it's bound to inspire anyone, any growth of any kind with knowledge. And he's also was in favor of an individual search for knowledge, which is something that I find, remarkable. It's something that I think everyone that wants to be anything finds interesting or fascinating. My third point is in correlation to the issue, I believe he would have agreed on state interference. Yes, I definitely would have agreed. I believe he would have agreed on state interference, because I couldn't see him living in a world where there was only where there was if there was any kind of neglect or abuse or any kind of misconduct in a household, that he would be able to live with that, or be able to sit by idly, to say the least, and that there was no furtherment of any kind to the child. And my other point is also giving his disagreement with democracy as efficient and a favor toward aristocratic leadership. He also disagreed with democracy because, democracy as a whole, as in the people making decision, because he believed the people that basic normal average people really couldn't make the decisions for everyone, and that they didn't need to, and that it was up to people who were trained, people who were seasoned, people who were educated to truly understand the wiles and the things that are that go together with making any society sustainable or efficient. And that would be his favor toward aristocratic leadership. So he was in favor for the state if the state was in, the right mind and the right mindset. Okay, my fourth slide is my assumption of Razou's viewpoint on state interference in child development. I believe Razou was majorly distrusting of the practices of the hierarchy and dismissed most prominent viewpoints. Yes, I would say that he was not a fan of the state. He believed that they were unnatural, fake, and he believed there was an uneasiness about it, and it kind of, he didn't really like dictate, anything that was unnatural, and he was a believer in the natural, and he also reinforced the idea of the pursuit for passions in life and the feel of things. He was very emotionally driven. He was a very emotively driven human being, and he believed in that people in their own states, in their own natural state, could do anything and be anything, and it was a beautiful thing, and that we should render ourselves available to that feeling, and we shouldn't cut that off. And he believed the state had a way of doing that. But I wouldn't say that he wouldn't be in favor of the state, because I believe he would have been for state intervention in the issue of child development if the child was mistreated, abused, neglected, any of the things as a protection to the child. He definitely wouldn't have wanted the innocence of a child, to be tampered with or tantalized. He definitely would have had an emotional prerogative for the protection, the delicacy of childhood. He spoke fondly of the innocence of a child, and that was something that he was really he was very driven toward that idea that we could achieve that, and that they have it, and when we get older we lose it. So yeah, I definitely think he would have favored that. Okay, this is my fifth slide. It's my thoughts on state interference in child development. My first point. I totally agree with state interference. I think in the issue of that, I believe harmony is the most important thing within a family life, and I believe if that's totally dismissible, and I believe if the recipient is unconscious or unaware of that fact, I think that something should be done, or some kind of intervention of some kind should be done, and it shouldn't be left alone or discarded, or any kind of discarded idea. The initiation of growth is a time most sacred. I think the growth of a child or child development is extremely important, and it's something that I can say from personal experience. If I wouldn't have been left alone, and I wouldn't have been left to grow and to do the things that I would have done, I wouldn't have much to think about. I honestly don't think that a lot of my life or the decision that I make would be based on anything, and a lot of the decisions I make are based on the happiness of my childhood and how things worked out then, and it's kind of it's a mediator of some sort that we kind of learn, and it's something that it's an intelligence and it's an intuition that a time that we need, the children need by themselves, and the protection should be there if the authority is neglectful or abusive. I've said this quite a few times in my last few slides, that the option should definitely be there for the child. The option of escape, if necessary, if if they're not functioning correctly, and the people are giving them no reason or no prerogative of doing anything different or any kind of growth of any kind. I believe that they should be that should be not so. That shouldn't be an option. That shouldn't be something that a child has to go through. A child should not have to fight or ram heads, against an authority figure, an absolute authority, in the case of them just trying to better their own lives. It's not fair. Okay, this is my sixth slide, and I'm concluding. This is my conclusion. My first point was, and this is exploration is a right. As I've said the entire time, it's people bettering themselves, and natural function is a right, and it's something that that without that kind of thinking, we wouldn't have people like Plato and Razu and any philosophers or any great literary figures or works of art. We wouldn't have masterpieces without people who were allowed to explore. And the fact that that Plato and Razu even thought the way that they thought, and they explored, they questioned, and things changed for the better, and for the more. For really, we didn't really know what the better was, and now we kind of have some insight into that. And it's these kinds of people, and it's these kinds of things that become a reality because of people who explore. And my last point is respect is a necessity for human growth of any kind, and I believe if you do truly respect your human beings and your fellow humans, I really don't think we would have any of these troubles, and the state wouldn't have to intervene, and it wouldn't have to be the cold hard law falling over people's heads and finding and ruining relationships and ruining childhood for people. And I don't believe we would ever have that. So yes, that is my slideshow and that is my presentation, and I thank you for listening. Thank you.